Hey everybody, it's Ken's Stock Market Podcast. We're going to review Monday, May 8th, 2023. We learned something. I started talking to one of multiple AIs today. I have Bing on the phone. I've got Chat GPT here on the computer. Just hanging out, enjoying itself, trying to pick stocks for me. Not having great luck, even though GPT-4 did make a decision, and I am going to look at those companies because I do look at a few of these. But what it got my attention was this Google and Google. And I did not know the answer to this question. And it actually took Bing to answer this question, although I'm sure Chat GPT could have done it too. I was trying to figure out what's happening here. Like, why are there two Googles? Why are there two alphabets? And why are they not exactly the same? Like, what's going on? And well, they have different titles. And we can see here that on Monday, both of them went up, but Class A stock went up a little bit more, although it's not as high as the Class C stock, which is 108.24. So what's going on here, thanks to Bing answering this for me, was that these are two different, one has voting rights and one doesn't have voting rights. So A has voting rights and C does not have voting right shares. And they're also two different ticker symbols. So GOOG is what I've always thought of as Google. However, there's also Google. And so as the uneducated investor in the beginning, I would always assume that this GOOG is the one that I'm supposed to buy when I'm buying Google. And I think a lot of dumb people are like that, just like me, that think that this is the one and don't really understand what's going on here. But this one is actually better, right? Because you have voting rights when you buy this one. I don't know the difference other than voting rights. That's all it said. So if you want to have a say, even though I'm sure your say isn't going to matter all that much, but if you want some voting rights, you can buy this one instead. So you know what else that means? It means that the market cap of Google Alphabet is now the sum of this. They're actually 2.7 billion. They are bigger than, trillion, 2.7 trillion, 2.748 trillion. They're actually bigger than Microsoft at 2.29 trillion. They're still not as big as Apple, apparently, but they're bigger than that. You have to add these two together. And I'm assuming those are the only two Googles that we have in here. Actually, let's check. We can check by trying to Google the tickers here. Are there any other Googs? No, just Google apparently. Is there an Alphabet as well? Alf. Anybody remember that show, Alf? That was pretty funny. Long time ago. Well, this was kind of interesting. So now that's something I'm going to watch every day and to see how these two interact, because there being a difference between them is fascinating. It's fascinating. I don't know. I guess we could figure out the number of shares issued. Let's ask Bing on that one. I actually want that question answered here. Hold on a second. Are there different numbers of shares issued for GOOG and GOOGL stock? I'm going to find out.
Searching for number of shares issued for Google and Google stock.
Yep. Even she knows that they're two different things, even though she just said they're the same.
I'm sorry, but I couldn't find any specific information about the number of shares issued for Google and Google stock. Would you like me to search again, or is there something else you would like to know?
What are the number of authorized shares for ticker symbol GOOG? I don't want outstanding, I want authorized. Although I
searching for
should
number of authorized shares for Google.
But I do want to know that because I want to know it for float.
I'm sorry, but I couldn't find any specific information about the number of authorized shares for Google stock.
Okay, we're good.
Would you like me to search again, or is there something else you would like to know?
No, I'll look it up later. So we won't worry about that too much, but it does something that I just kind of want to pay attention to going forward and see if they trail for a reason. And maybe one is always bigger than the other. The only thing I can think of is the accidental reason that people think go with Google and just go with GOG, because I cannot believe how long I've been paying attention to stocks. Really, since the pandemic, I've been off and on having these files that run and analyze different stocks and look at prices and everything. And I never even realized this other Google should be in here and is part of the company. That is crazy. It had more volume. I mean, this is a very weird problem, because not a lot of companies do that. Obviously, Berkshire Hathaway kind of does that as well, apparently, right? These are two different types of shares. And I bet you I bet you Warren's got the same thing going, where Berkshire A is voting and Berkshire B is not voting. Let's ask that one. What's the difference between the two classes of Berkshire Hathaway stock? Being AI. It'll probably give us a pretty good answer. I'm going to guess Class A.
Searching for
Class A's are usually
between two classes of Berkshire Hathaway stock. Berkshire Hathaway has two classes of stock, Class A, BRK.A, and Class B, BRK.B. The main difference between the two types of shares is their price.
Yeah.
Class A shares are much more expensive than Class B shares.
Yeah, they are.
Another key difference is that Class A shares have more voting power than Class B shares.
Okay, just
each Class A share has 1/10,000 th of the voting rights of a Class B share. Is there anything else you would like to know?
So they're saying 1/10,000. Each Class A share has 1/10,000th of the voting rights of a Class B share. Each Class A share has 1/10,000th of the voting rights of a Class B share. What? That doesn't sound right. That would be saying that you get more voting rights with this share, and here you only get 1/10,000th. However, this is a different way of, like, when you're looking at Berkshire Hathaway, you need to add these two together then, right? And it's interesting how it's split, and it comes out to 1.45 trillion. Very interesting. I wouldn't believe that these only have 1/10,000th of these. That doesn't make any sense. Seems like it would be the other way around, and that these have 1/10,000th of these shares. That's the way it seems like it should be, because so you have to check these AIs. We don't really know. Yeah, that's 1,500. It's not quite 10,000. I don't know. Weird stuff. We're learning stuff today, thanks to AI. But so it's intriguing to look at things, and you have to look at companies as a whole here. But you also want to separately look at tickers. So let's kind of go over Monday a little bit. I did pay attention after going to the eye doctor and having my eyes dilated, but I am still seeing, which is always nice to still be able to see. So I am still seeing, and I can read the screen. And so I want to, go over some things I paid attention to, and also get into a little bit of AI fun, because what you're able to do is you're just really able, when you start messing around with these AIs and chat GPTs and Bings and everything, you want to go with stuff that you know, because when you go with stuff that you know, you're able to ask it more specific questions and start to get it to do something. And I'm trying to get it to at least cue me in on what to pay attention to. Because right now, all I know how to do is just filter and sort and look around that way. Like right now, we're filtering by market cap. We're looking at the biggest companies for, on top, which are good to look at because they, more about a lot of these companies, right? And, like, I'm not a big Apple fan. I don't use Apple stuff, but they're just a well-run company making money. And there's a reason why they're the most valuable company. There's people that do use Apple products, don't usually leave them like I did. And they become part of your life in the way that they organize your data, and just, you have to stick with Apple. I understand that. Even more, Warren Buffett understands that too. So even though this isn't one of my favorites, I understand why they're on top. Microsoft is one of my favorites for a lot of reasons. Google, same thing. Can't live without them. Amazon, Amazon, I can actually live without, but I know a lot of people that use it all the time. And when it comes to selling stuff, maybe I should be looking into it and using it. I worked for them twice. I worked for Amazon Web Services twice. Um, I don't know what to say. Like, they're not one of my favorites on here. I think they're just too big and don't like making profit. They like doing. And so even though they have a huge market cap, I don't think that they're going to go up like indefinitely. I think that they're a huge enterprise, but I just I don't know. I don't see them advancing the same way that a lot of these other companies advance in technology, even though they're a tech and a transportation company together, yet and a web company. They do a lot of things. I mean, I can't say that they don't provide value, but they're not one of my favorites like these. And Berkshire Hathaway, those are good guys. I don't have 500 grand sitting around for a share. Maybe in this one, right? Nvidia, I really like this company. I mean, this company is doing amazing things with processing and moving into AI and bringing us there and making chips with smaller nanometers, and that they are on the vanguard and they're doing it and they're big. You can see, and they're, the world is relying on processing. So a company like this is going to be able to churn out a lot and get paid, and they're doing that. So they're a good one. I cannot stand Facebook. I won't make this video complain about Facebook. Tesla's my favorite company. Well, they're my favorite company. Look at their volume. Look at their volume being bigger than everybody else on here. They're my favorite company because I think a lot of people that have passion for this company, it's what makes this volume here. It's what makes people so interested. Like, Tesla can't help but go up and down a lot. I mean, even when you see it, just a $1.73 day change, this is just like, it's like a firecracker that is, the fuse is always burning on Tesla, and you never know if it's going to go up or down a lot in one day, but it always could. And it's because of this. So when it comes to trading stock options and getting involved, this company is fun. They're fun to drive on a daily basis. Let me start going down the list, getting not as big. Walmart's a great company as well. Just look at them, up to 152 already. Yeah, I always wonder why they can't seem to like make it past this 150 hurdle for very long. It's because their prices are so low, but they're also like a staple. I don't know what else Walmart should do to be more profitable while still keeping their prices low. Like, I guess they add other services within their property, because that's the thing, is they are essentially an establishment. They're a place where van dwellers park and sleep, and they kind of allow it sometimes. Like, that's how big time Walmart is. Walmart is basically like a government sponsored, like supplier. It's, even though they're a private company, I've always said, as I traveled the country, they define a town. Like, I'm like, oh, does this town in the middle of the Colorado mountains have a Walmart? Because if they do, you can get anything you need. You can get anything you need there. Oh yeah, at probably the lowest price on earth. Like, that's what they do. It's amazing. It's amazing when you think about it, because that is exactly what they do, which is why you don't see them up here having a market cap of 3 trillion, because they could never have that model and get to be the biggest company on the market. Like, you have to have exorbitant profits like Apple does with their hardware and their ecosystem. You're always going to go to Walmart. I mean, maybe what Walmart could do is they could make people rent out their parking spots for those van lifers that would like a safe place to sleep at night, because a Walmart's a pretty safe place to sleep. Why don't they just start building out their parking lots and renting out stalls and using that real estate at night? Be like, guess what? Like, we're a Walmart. We'll put some outdoor bathrooms out there that will make people pay for, because we don't want you coming to the Walmart after hours. But I know, like, they'll be like, no alcohol outside. A bunch of rules, like, we got a cop patrolling this place, every hour or so. Anyway, there are a lot of things that they can do, and that's the only kind of thing I can think of that makes them even better, because it's not about them being an online company. That nobody wants to order and even have a drone delivered from Walmart, other than the fact that what the item you're going to get is going to be inexpensive. That's a good thing about having something delivered. But there's an act of going to the Walmart that people that grocery shop and clothes shop and everything else, you kind of want to go see stuff and they have everything at the lowest price that isn't a super special technical item, even though they have so many. They do their inventory right. So I don't know. I didn't want to just praise Walmart this video because they're not necessarily a great stock mover, but they are stable. And you just, yeah, like they're just well run. So let's get back to some other topics, some other things I want to talk about in this video. So I was trying to get ChatGPT to give me answers about which stocks might move the most based on how many dollars they might move in a day. And it gave me some interesting answers because it's all about how you word the question with this stuff. It said, of course, yeah, Berkshire A, which is a $497,000 share price, yeah, they'll probably move the most in terms of dollars tomorrow, whether it be up or down, because they are so highly priced. That makes perfect sense, right? Like, as a matter of fact, today, the company that moved the most in terms of actual nominal dollars, which is something that you care about when you trade options, especially, you get the day change descending of course, Berkshire Hathaway A goes up 5,160. Well, the limitations are, I don't think you can even buy options on this part of Berkshire. I don't actually, you might be able to. I'm going to look that up. I love how like Warren's got like a height, like a forward slash apparently in his stock. Is that actually the way it's? I'm trying to type it in on a, yeah, it's BRK.A actually is how it is shown on the actual market. You, of course, cannot buy options on this because how would you even price an option here? I mean, this is crazy. It's essentially moves like an option just when you buy a share, but you have to put up $500,000 to buy a share. It's the problem. So I'm going to rule that one out. Obviously, you can't trade options on Berkshire Hathaway, but you can trade options on a lot of these other stocks. So today, First Citizens Bank share. Let's see if we can trade options on that one. You can. They went up $86 today. That's $8,646 in intrinsic value if you held a long call option that was already in the money. Say you had a strike price of 1,000, a long call option with a strike price of 1,000. You intrinsically made $8,646 today. Now, how much does it cost to purchase an option, right? How much does it cost to purchase an option at $1,000 strike price? Well, these are about $4,000 or $5,000 a piece to be a week long at the strike price of like 1,100. So while you would have crushed it today because it went up $86, banks, what does that say about banks today, for example? Let's take a look at all of the banks. And we're looking in finance. Did they all have big days? Apparently banks went up by $3.6 billion today. And banks that did really well. Change in market cap is interesting to look at, but also this number right here. So 1.3 billion for Citizens went up. I don't know why. I would actually like to ask Bing that. Why did First Citizens Bank shares go up today, Monday, May 8th? I'm going to ask Bing. That's a lot.
Searching for First Citizens Bank shares go up today, Monday, May 8th.
Tell me. Just thinking.
First Citizens Bancshares Incorporated, FCNCA, shares surged on Monday, May 8th after it was announced that the bank had agreed to buy assets from collapsed Silicon Valley Bank. Is there anything else you would like to know?
Okay. Well, Why would that cause First Citizens to go up in value on the stock market? Thought Silicon Valley was a mess. I mean, buying crap shouldn't make your company go up, right?
The acquisition of assets from Silicon Valley Bank by First Citizens Bank could have been perceived by investors as a positive development for the company. The acquisition could have the potential to increase First Citizens Bank's customer base, expand its operations, and improve its financial performance. These factors could have contributed to the increase in the value of First Citizens Bankshares Incorporated, FCNCA, shares on the stock market.
All right. Well, as you look at companies and you start to think, well, this is kind of interesting right here because of what I just said about option value. So they're now, I guess, worth $15 billion. When it comes to banks and sizes of banks on here, let's sort this descending by market cap to see where they fit in, right? And where they fit in on this list, let's just look at US banks, by the way. We're not even going to look at banks in any other countries. Shrink this down even more. We've got 1,100 companies on here, and we're looking at finance companies and not just banks. There are a few ways to look at industry, but I don't want to miss any because there's banks, there's commercial banks, there's major banks. I think everybody gets on here when we do that. And we have 341 essentially, I guess, major banks on here. And they fit right here now. Okay. So if you're ranking banks in terms of market cap and you're trying to figure out what's going on here and whether or not this is a good situation, where's Silicon Valley Bank? Are they off here now? They get, I guess I gotta ask, what are Silicon Valley Bank's ticker symbol? Sorry, I worded that wrong. Yeah, she doesn't need to know that. And maybe they already got delisted is the problem. We'll find out. I can probably ask that question in another way. SVB.
Silicon Valley Bank is a subsidiary of SVB Financial Group.
Mm-hmm.
The ticker symbol for SVB Financial Group is SIVB, and it is traded on the NASDAQ Stock Exchange.
Ooh, SIVB. Raw imports. SIVB. No, I think it's been delisted. It's probably what happened. Did SIVB get delisted from the NASDAQ? I think it did, or trading got halted. I just want to know to see what their value actually was. She's going to answer us in a second, but at least we got enough information. I'm going to wait for her to answer.
Searching for SIVB delisted from NASDAQ.
Yeah, just tell me if she knows. See how this just becomes all day long. It's like what used to be a Google search and you reading through a bunch of information.
Yes, you are correct. SVB Financial Group, SIVB, the parent company of Silicon Valley Bank, received a delisting notice from the NASDAQ Stock Market LLC after it filed for bankruptcy. The stock has been halted for news and additional information requested since before the March 10th open and was suspended on March 28th.
What was their market cap right before they were delisted?
It's gonna have dropped a lot. So I kind of want to ask that question back in time, but
Searching for SVB Financial Group market cap before delisting.
we'll we won't get stuck on this too much, but basically what you want to say is, all right, well,
I'm sorry, but I couldn't find any specific information about the market cap of SVB Financial.
yeah, that's all right. So apparently, according to the people that decided to run this stock up today when they got this news, they valued that at about $1.3 billion in benefit. I don't know if anybody really knows, because when you're buying stuff from a company that's failing, they're failing for a reason because everyone pulled their money out or whatever. Like there's a complicated question. But what it does show you is that if you had like an extra $5,000 sitting around, all right. Yeah, because that's about what it actually it's between. I would say it's between, there's like $3,500 both ways. I'd say about $7,000 lying around. In this kind of situation, it's almost like you could buy a long call that's, $20, like an 11.20 long call, meaning if they go up, more than $20, you start to get in the money, or $30. And also like a 1060 put. Okay, put it like this is, I believe, called a vertical split, if I defined that correctly. This is going to probably go wildly in one or both directions over tomorrow. And it's because they went berserk today. And the reason why they went berserk is not a clearly defined dollar amount. Nobody knows what Silicon Valley Bank's assets are going to totally be worth. But if they are getting them, yes, there's going to be an expanse. And it's true. Like if there are people that still have their money and were made whole in Silicon Valley Bank, even though they got delisted because the Fed backed them up and didn't let them lose money even over the $250,000. I believe everybody got paid out. And I don't believe any depositors lost their money on Silicon Valley Bank or any of these regionals that have gone out of business. If that's the case, then it could go up a lot, but it's true. Like tomorrow, the odds of them closing on Tuesday at 1,090 are really, really slim. Like they're definitely going one way or another, and it's going to be thousands of dollars in intrinsic option value either direction. That's probably what that means. And so we can see that when we're just talking about banks, because they're not so far down that they're going to stop swinging, and that like it's pretty interesting to look at it this way. So let's go back and let's back up for a second, because the order matters. And we're learning things about how to read this board in conjunction with AI. So these are all our banks. Let's go back to all companies for a second. So we were sorting by day change, right? We'd done this. We found some interesting things in the second one, which is if you had an extra few $1,000s lying around, I would absolutely play this both ways tomorrow. because you're going to have a chance to sell one of them at a profit an hour after they open for thousands of dollars. So they're going to be like, there's no way. Like what I would tell you just from watching this is at 10:30 a.m. on Tuesday, May 9th, this number is either going to be over 1,100 or below 1070. Like it's going to be one way or the other. Like it's not going to sit. No way. Because of this, right? So let's look at other companies and other reasons that this might be happening. And I'm going to stick to American companies because I'm in America. All right, we're just going to stick to American companies. We shouldn't use that as a restriction all the time, but I'm going to do it for the purposes of this video because I just feel more comfortable talking about American companies. That's my own narrow way of looking at this. Booking Holdings. Who are you guys? You guys are an expensive stock at 2,000. You can see that the stock price matters. What you really want is a big day change with a lower stock price. What's Zscaler? What happened here? Tell me, Bang. Why did Zscaler, ticker symbol ZS, go up so much today, Bing AI? This one I've never heard of. What is this company?
Searching for Zscaler, ticker symbol ZS, go up today.
Information technology software.
I'm sorry. but I couldn't find any specific information about why Zscaler, ZS, stock went up today.
Really?
Would you like me to search again, or is there something else you would like to know?
Wow. Okay. Well, I'm looking at a different source here. Huh. I don't show in news either. The note here on TD Ameritrade says Zscaler shares are trading higher after the company said it expects to report Q3 revenue above prior guidance. Okay. This company, it's a cloud security company. All right. They do not make money. They lose money. Even though their revenue is like 380 million a quarter right now. So this company is not a profitable company. And they went from, yeah, they do not make money. And their stock price has ranged from 90 to like 200 in the last year. So let's talk about what happened here. In this situation, where you have a stock that is only 100 some odd bucks, and you get some really choppy news, like they said revenue is going to be better for the current quarter coming up, which I guess is the fiscal Q3 for them. They're already losing money and they're not a great company profit-wise. They're just cloud storage. I've never heard of them. Okay. Their market cap is $15 billion. And this volume is really, really large for a company of this size, share-wise. See how much larger it is than almost everything else on here, except for AMD, which is a company that should be going up because they're getting investment from Microsoft. This one's no. So this smells fishy. Zscaler smells fishy. I don't care about those countries. So here's what the move you make right here. And I want to be hesitant to give advice because I obviously haven't done anything like this, but this looks so fishy and the fundamentals of this company do not point at it being a long-term profitable company because they are not a long-term profitable company. They're losing money every quarter and it looks like every year. Let me just double check their annual profit because I just want to give you accurate information. They definitely did not make money quarter by quarter. They've never made money. Even though revenue has grown, they are never making money. Their selling, general, and admin costs are through the roof, okay, which is not a good cost to have. So this is a recipe for this price not staying up. Can you buy options on this company? Yes. Yes, you can. And you want to buy a put on this company. Even though I said I'm not giving advice, the advice I'm not giving you is that you buy a put in this situation because they're not a fundamentally profitable company and you're going off of, I heard it through the grapevine that revenue is going to be bigger, yet they keep spending all that revenue and finding a way not to be profitable. So when they have a day like this where they go $1,800 up in option value, they are going to burn out real fast. And there's going to be some profit taking. The other thing I want to talk about in this company is what is their current short interest? Like how many people are expecting that to happen? We're going to look at their option prices. I'll kind of explain to you what you think about here. Their short interest is almost 9% or 8.72%. That's pretty high, which means people are expecting them to go down. And you know, eight out of every 100 people, or 9 out of every 100 people think they're going to go down. All right, and are playing them to go down. I believe that's kind of what that means. And so, well, what that means is that you want to buy a put option, right? That's my advice I'm not giving you. I mean, explain what those costs and mathematically like what's supposed to happen. So on a normal rule is when a company goes up for the right reasons, actually, and they go up a lot in one day. In this case, it's 20% that Zscaler went up. They went $18. Well, if it's a normal snapback the next day and people start taking profit after a big day like this, then they drop by $9. They drop by half of whatever they went up by. That's like a normal thing to have happen, right? Big day one day, people take some profits the next day, halfway. Now in Zscaler situation, where they are not a profitable company anyway, that snapback can be even more, even if it's not just one day, like the next few weeks, like, are they going to skyrocket up again? Like there's probably going to be more. I heard it through the grapevine talk, and they're going to potentially even go up maybe tomorrow and then destroy themselves. I would watch this, but the option is the put option that you still want to go with, because they're not going to stay up for the right reasons. So let's look at, if you were just to play this super, super fast and gambly like not long-term investy like, but just taking a look at this file and seeing where big things are moving, you could buy an option that expires Friday. Okay, 4 days from now. Total risk. Like, do not think you're going to get this right and make money doing this every time. But you could make a lot of money doing it once if you do it right. So I'm saying you buy the put option on Zscaler that expires Friday. What are you risking and what's your potential reward? I'm looking now at the list, and I cannot believe this, but $107 put is only $225. That's incredibly cheap considering they went up $18 today. Okay, so that's not a lot of money. And I'm saying you could go as far as $9 down. Interesting idea. So let me give you some ideas. Let's pretend that all you had was $100 to waste on this. And I'm saying waste because this is absolutely a complete gamble. However, it's a gamble with an edge, because you're taking into account some factors about why stuff probably happened here and what's likely to happen in the near future. Meaning they're going to move heavily one way or the other, and that other is the way down is probably the way they will go at some point this week after they already went up 20%. Now, I can't believe that the calls and the puts are only 200 something dollars, $1 away from this stock. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen. These should be at least $500 or $600 in either direction. I don't know why they're not, because it's just moved 18 bucks in a day, meaning it's probably going to move at least $9 in a direction tomorrow, Tuesday. That's probably going to happen. I mean, I don't know where I'm getting that rule from, other than just historically I've watched when this kind of stuff happens. And when something moves 20% in a day, it usually moves at least a few percent in the next day. Like, it usually doesn't go just 20 and then dead even, especially for a couple of days. You're going to see some type of movement. So I'm saying down, and I'm also saying, well, what about, like, what if you didn't want to put a lot of money on this because it is too gambly? It's not an investment, really. Well, if you had $100, what's kind of funny is you've got the option of buying a 103 put. Okay. The 103 put is actually less than $100 right now. This expires Friday, so you got to sell it before Friday, and they have to go down to below 103. They need to go down to 102 essentially if you buy the 103 put to have enough intrinsic option value to make money. But I said they might drop by 9 tomorrow, right? Or certainly by the next couple days, unless they go way up and then drop, and then you'd hope they still drop, but they might go up again tomorrow. It's possible. You might want to wait a little bit, or I don't know. I would say because this fluctuation is so great that you can buy this. You can definitely vertically split this one. That's really what you can do. You can buy a 103 put And then how much is $100 the other direction? And really you should get $200. It's just crazy. It's crazy how easy it is to make money on a stock like this. So let's up this to, let's say you have $300 to burn tomorrow. Okay. Because doing it this way, you're almost guaranteeing yourself a way to make money before the end of the week. And I'll explain why. The spreads on these options are not wide enough for the day that they had today. Like I'm seeing variances of just a couple dollars in strike price. Because see, they're at about 108 right now. You can get a 105 put, which means you're looking for them to go below 105, right? You can get that for $150. Okay, $150. And then, so now you have them covered if they go down to 103.50 or below, you absolutely are going to make money on that option. Okay, so they just have to go down, $4 or $5, right? Not bad. Well, what if you then also buy a call on them? How much is a $150 call that expires Friday? The answer is you can get one that is at 111. So you can buy a $111 call and you can buy a $105 put. And that means that if this stock anytime between now and Friday goes down to 102 or 114, if it goes to either above 114 or below 102, you intrinsically, mathematically have to be able to make money whenever they reach that point, because you'll be able to sell one of those options for more than the $300 you paid for both of them at 150 each. Because if they get down to 102 and you have a 105 put, 102 minus 10 or 105 minus 102 is $3. That intrinsically turns into $300 in option value. Plus there's a premium, so you're going to totally make more. But mathematically, like finite mathematics about how to make money on this, they have to stay between 102 and 114 between now and Friday. They can't go beyond that range. That's the only way you'd lose some money. You still wouldn't lose all your money because they're going to move in some direction and they're going to close somewhere. And by Friday, you'll have some value in both of those options because they had moved so much today. That is when it comes to advice, even though we're not giving advice here, when it comes to advice, I am going to give advice. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to do it with you tomorrow. Is I am going to buy the market. I'm going to see what happens at the open because these are probably going to go berserk at the open. So the prices I just gave you are not even going to be good a minute after the open. But I'm going to use the logic I just told you, and depending on which direction they go when they start, I'm going to try to buy an option in both directions. So for the sake of before, prepping you for what's going to happen on tomorrow's Tuesday night's video, I'm going to try to buy a 111 call and I'm going to try to buy a 105 put at $150. I don't think I'm going to be able to in the morning. Something's going to go one direction and the spread that I'm going to buy might be slightly different depending on how they open. But that's my logic, is to spend just $300, just one option on each side. And I want to show you how that is such a reliable way to probably make money on a very, very short-term option. Just given what happened here. Like I said, the only way you can't make money in that scenario is if they stay between the range of those. It's basically if they sit between 105 and 110 for the next 3 days and don't move. What are the odds that happens? Given they moved 20.6% today. Nobody wants to take a profit on that? Or nobody wants to buy in on this and get on this new big revenue number? One of those two things is going to be more true than the other. And so they're going to move. So I'm going to leave you with that because it's been a long video, but I just want to try to explain options and how using this file to sort stuff out cues you in to really interesting situations. And I'm going to try this one tomorrow because I think I don't have to divulge anything that I haven't done yet, because we're just talking about what we are going to do. I need to notify you if I actually invest in something and I talk about that company. Like I do have an option in Google right now. I do have a long call in Google. So when I talked about them and I like them as a company, well, that's true. I actually don't have any options in Tesla right now, but I have in the past, and I always buy some. So, you know, I feel like I should say I'm an institutional investor in Tesla, even if I don't have any options in them right now. So point is I want to explain through these videos how the stock market is a fascinating place to get a hand in some of this crazy volatility, which just mathematically turns itself into money when you take advantage of situations like this, which I just cannot believe how inexpensive these options are on either side of 107. I'm fascinated. I'm fascinated to see an $18 mover one day, and it's still $100, $150 for just a couple dollars in both directions off this. That's unbelievable. So we'll see if I'm right about that, because my prediction is actually that tomorrow you will be able to make, you could buy and sell the options I just told you tomorrow, at least one of them, and make more money, like you put that 300 down on both options, you'll be able to sell one of those options depending on which direction they go for much more than $300 tomorrow. So like you make money and then you're still sitting with the other option to see if they go the other way, you know, on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's how crazy this is probably going to be tomorrow. So let's sit back and watch. I don't know much about this company, and I don't even really care, because when you're doing this by the numbers, you just see this and you know that something's going to happen tomorrow. Now, actually, I almost want to look down and see, is there anything else that's also like amazingly great, right? Because it's this volume number that's really big that also matters. It means you see a volume number like that today, there's going to be a volume number tomorrow. Like you see how much bigger it is than all these other ones, right? What's Alpha Metallurgical Resources? Yeah, that one's kind of interesting as well. Well, I don't want to go on too long. Netflix up here, and Netflix is another good company to do this with, I'm sure. But the options are much more expensive because this is a $331 stock. To give you a little understanding, you find it, I mean, it's because they're only at 107. That's why it's this is crazy. A 20% move is a humongous move, right? It's a 14% move. Doesn't work when you just sort this all by percentage per day, because you also have to tie it to a nominal value. That's why looking at this day change number is really important for options. Money Lion, what's up with them? All right, I've had enough for now, but Zscaler both ways. I think that's called a vertical split. If anybody wants to comment below about whether or not I called that appropriately a vertical split, but what I just explained has a really good chance of making money this week. And so I'll try it and we'll see how it goes. All right, good luck. May all your trades, or at least half of your trades, win more than the cost of all your trades. That's really what you only have to have, because you're going to buy two options there, and if one of them, it goes strong in one direction, you're going to win. All right, good luck. May all trades be winning.